Alright, so today I want to talk about the juvenile judges and their partnership with DHR. These same juvenile judges that are in partnership with DHR are hearing these cases brought by DHR. And at the same time, they're supposed to give you a fair hearing when the case involves somebody they're in partnership with. Okay? So we're going to discuss this partnership and we'll discuss, potentially what they're trying to achieve through this partnership and why this partnership is important, okay, to them. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this agency called the Alabama Department of Early Childhood Education. It was formerly known as Department of Children's Affairs, okay? So this document is at the Alabama Archives, and it's the functional analysis and records disposition, okay, for this agency. It briefly outlines what the agency does, its function, and its organization, and how its records are kept. So this document is going to say Department of Children's Affairs throughout it, but it's talking about this agency right here because this agency was renamed this, okay? But it still applies to this agency, okay? So all right, historical context. So the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs was created by Legislative Act number 99-439 in 1999. In the same year, the legislature also revised a 1975 law by changing the name of the Alabama Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council to the Alabama Children's Policy Council, with the newly created Commissioner of Children's Affairs as chairman. The Alabama Children's Policy Council works closely with the County Children's Policy Councils, formerly County Juvenile Justice Coordinating Councils, located in each county across the state. Legislative Act number 2006-13 created the Office of School Readiness within the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs. All right. So organization. The Alabama Department of Children's Affairs operates under the direction, supervision, and control of the Commissioner of Children's Affairs, who is appointed by and holds office at the pleasure of the governor. The director of the Office of School Readiness is also appointed by and serves at the pleasure of the governor. The department is currently composed of the following program/office units. Okay, these are the offices that are within this executive agency called the Department of Early Childhood Education now. Okay, because this is an executive agency. If you know anything about government, we got three branches of government. We got the legislature, we got the judicial, and we have the executive. Okay. Executive enforces the laws, legislative rights, judicial says what the law is, okay? So this executive department is composed of the Office of School Readiness, the Alabama Head Start State Collaboration Office, the Children's Policy Council, the Children's Trust Fund, and administrative support, okay? This is the agency we're going to focus on right here. So it says agency function and sub-functions. The mandated function of the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs is to advise the governor. Now. And the legislature in matters relating to children, serve as a liaison between the governor and various state agencies providing services for children. So let's look up this word liaison before we continue. Let's find out what a liaison is for those that may not know or may not fully understand the definition. Liaison is a person who establishes and maintains communications for mutual understanding and cooperation. Okay? Mutual understanding and cooperation. Do we need to look up cooperation? let's look it up anyway. I don't mind looking it up. Let's look up cooperation so we can get a clearer understanding of what cooperation is. Because you always got some naysayers, you know. Association of persons for a common benefit. The act of someone who is being helpful by doing what is wanted or asked for. See that? Being helpful. And a liaison is someone that's being helpful, right? They establish, maintain being helpful. So let's go back to this right here. All right, so let's start over. The mandated function of the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs, which contains this office/program, is to advise the governor and the legislature in matters relating to children, serve as a helpful thing between the governor and various state agencies providing services for children. So the function of this Children's Policy Council is to be helpful to these various state agencies providing services for children. So we're going to go into some of these agencies that are they're being helpful to, and who is actually in this Children's Policy Council, okay? And create a network of local/community groups dedicated to children. The department is one of the agencies primarily involved in carrying out public advocacy function of the Alabama government. All right. So it says, in the performance of its mandated function, the agency may engage in the following sub-functions: coordinating the activities of state and county children's policy councils. So let's just look up coordinating, because you know I like to give other people's definitions of stuff, and you know I don't like people saying I said something, you know, because I may not know what I'm talking about. So we'll go to coordinate. So we just saw where they coordinate activities of state and county children's policy council. Okay, this liaison, right? This liaison, called the Department of Early Childhood Education, which houses the Children's Policy Council, coordinates the activities of the Children's Policy Council. So we're going to go to coordinate and look up the definition, because that's we're using a verb tense. So to bring into common action. Okay, so if if the function of the agency is to act as a liaison, which means somebody that makes everything cooperative, work together, and this agency coordinates these activities, which means they bring it to common action. That means that the actions of this entity here, the Children's Policy Councils, are the actions of this entity. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to find out who is actually in this council here. So let's see what let's read this little paragraph. The Code of Alabama 1975, 12-15-130, authorizes the creation of the Alabama Children's Policy Council, formerly known as Alabama Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council. Now this has been moved. It's actually entitled 26, but this is an older document, even though this still applies to this Department of Early Childhood Education. Okay, it was just moved to a different title. Okay. The council consists of 38 members appointed by the governor, lieutenant governor, leaders of the legislature, heads of children's services related state agencies, members of the judicial branch, and other representatives selected by the council. The commissioner of the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs serves as the council's chairman, with the who? With the chief justice as vice chair. So he's the vice chair liaison. Okay, he or she. All right. In addition, the Code of Alabama 1975, 12-15133, created in each county a state children's policy council, chaired by who? The local senior juvenile court judge and 15 mandated members plus 7 members at large. The legislative mandate. Oh well, let's go back to what a chair is, because they're talking about chairman. Let's see what a chairman is. What does a chairman do? Chairman. The presiding liaison. So he's the presiding liaison of a meeting, organization, committee, or event. The administrative officer of a department of instruction. Okay. So he's the mutual benefit of the state agencies and procedures for children's services, identify gaps, encourage agency collaboration to avoid duplication, conduct annual needs assessments, and we're going to dive into what a needs assessment is, and maintain/update a local resource guide for children's services. On behalf of the State Children's Policy Council, staff members of the Alabama Department of Children's Affairs manage and provide oversight. So they manage this juvenile court judge for county councils by conducting training sessions. They train his butt, sponsor state conferences, which houses this office or program called the Children's Policy Council, which functions to act as a liaison for the mutual benefit of the agencies and whatever entities providing children's services, and that they function to set policy that's for the mutual benefit of the agency. Okay, and we just found out that judges sit in this executive agency and act as a liaison for state agencies. Okay, they handle children's services. So let's go to this little program / office within this Department of Early Childhood Education. I'm going to read what their own website says about them. Okay, so this is the County Children's Policy Council. So let's see what they say. The County Children's Policy Councils review the needs of children in their counties and how local agencies and departments can work together more efficiently and effectively to serve children in the area. Wow. Okay. Now, judge is heading this thing. Now, the same judge that does these actions where these agencies are coming against you. All right. These local teams submit an annual report to the Department of Children's Affairs by July 1st of each year on local services provided to children, local needs of children, and recommendations of the Children's County Children's Policy Council based on data from the previous fiscal year ending September 30th. These local resource guides shall be used by the State Children's Policy Council in compiling a state resource guide, which is distributed to the general public and to agencies and organizations serving children. Okay, let you know who's on there. Boom, juvenile court judge. So who else is on there? Boom, director of human resources. You got mental health, the intake officer, county superintendent of education. You got local legislatures, the county and city legislatures. You got the sheriff, because you got to have him, because when they're doing some legal stuff, he got to be on board. And at least 7 persons to be appointed by them. Okay, so let's see what their duties are. Reviewing the needs of children 0 to 9. So they're talking about what children need, and then they're enforcing that, through their courts, because we're going to see where like an actual judge is actually saying that this is how I do my thing. Reviewing the responsibilities of agents assigned. Responsibilities assigned to each agency by law. Huh? That's legal advice. Sound like legal advice to me. So judge is giving basically legal advice to agencies, telling them what they can and what they can't do. Determining areas of responsibility and identifying areas of duplication and conflict between agencies. Wow. Identifying local resources, developing a local resource guide to services available to children, which shall include procedural information concerning how to access such local services, articulating and communicating to the local community the needs of children. And when they bring you in court, this is what they're trying to do, and we don't want to get with that. These needs that they develop, they just take your kids. And submitting an annual needs assessment. Okay, and this is their website telling you what they do. This is Department of Early Childhood Education. They do a little brief spill on too, because we just left the Children's Policy Council's website. So let's go to the Department of Early Childhood Education and see what they say also. By creating 6 subcommittees, a county CPC takes a comprehensive approach to helping its family. Economic security, health, safety, education, parental involvement, and early child education. Some of the programs and services that have developed as a result of CPC needs assessments are kids' health development screenings and health fairs, community gardens, prom promise, juvenile redirection program, juvenile drug court, juvenile mental health court. They use this one a lot to drag people into court. All right, so let's go to what a needs assessment is, and to do that, I pulled up the U.S. Department of Education, and they got a little publication about comprehensive needs assessment, because to get grants, most of these state agencies have to do a needs assessment to show where the money's applied, where the money's going to go next year, and what they need money for in the coming years, and how the action plans they put in place have worked. So let's see what they say about a needs assessment. Definition of key terms. A needs assessment. A needs assessment is a systematic approach that progresses through a defined series of phases. Needs assessments focuses on the ends, i.e. outcomes, to be attained rather than the means, i.e. process. Okay, so we can equate outcome with whatever thing they've got together and said their mutual interest is. We can equate that with ends, and we can equate means with the actual law, meaning court actions and what the agency can actually do to you, and all that's the means, because those things are defined in the law. Who can bring what type of action against you, what they actually can do for you, when they come in your house, when they can't come in your house. Those are means, because the law prescribes when someone come in your house, what's required for them to come in your house, what's required before an agency can remove a kid. So these needs assessment that they go and develop, they're not concerned with, what the law says about what we can do, because we're trying to accomplish an ends, and we are going to work together to accomplish those ends. Okay. It gathers data by means of established procedures and methods designed for specific purposes. The kinds and scope of methods are selected to fit the purpose and context of the needs assessment. Needs assessments set priorities and determine criteria for solutions so that planners and managers can make sound decisions. Council uh, programs that they are getting together, the judge with DHR, police chief, mayor, county commissioner, mental health, and they are coming up with a predetermined plan on how to accomplish whatever ends they are. And in those ends, they're not worried about any means at all. They're not worried about whether, oh, a judge, he shouldn't be sitting on a case that he's in partnership with all these people, or they're not worried about, oh well, the judge, he's restrained to being in the judicial department. He can't hold an office in an executive branch because, you know, he vacates his first office if he comes and sits over here, because we're not doing judicial stuff over here. We're doing executive stuff. So they're not worried about any of that. They're not worried about that DHR requires a warrant to get in your house. And you know, you see a lot of stupid comments. People talking about CPS that need a warrant. This is stuff you can just Google. Does CPS need a warrant? You should never let CPS worker into your home until you are positive you have a court order or a warrant. And this court order, most of the time in Alabama, and I'm going to do a video on this later on, is a court order telling you to allow them to do an investigation so they can see if they have probable cause to either remove a child or if there's some danger. But they, in order to get this court order, they got to go and, you know, present probable cause that you are actually committing some type of crime. And I got another video on reserving for that, so we'll go through that. And if you let them in your home, you waive that protection. Okay, so any idiot telling you they don't have to have no warrant, that's an idiot. That's a slam idiot, just straight idiot. Okay, so where were we? All right, so we're gonna look at some of the counties, and I'll start with our county. This talks about their needs assessments. And you see all of our counties have a county churches policy council. They put in action plans and all this stuff. Okay, so let's go to Russell County because that's where I live. Let's actually see who's on there. All right, yeah, that's juvenile judge here. I mean, he used to be in 2015. He lost his race not too long ago and was replaced by another tyrant. But you see he's on there. Let's see, there's our district attorney. There's DHR director. Mayor's on there. That's the county commissioner. That's the truancy dude. That's juvenile intake officer. Police chief, sheriff. Because when these people come to your house without a warrant, these two, they have to be down with the cause. So that's why they're part of the group, because they have to be on board of this. Because this dude here, the sheriff, he's the primary protector of your rights within the county. So when these people are doing some illegal crap, he's supposed to, like, I'm not going in nobody's house. Because you see, with that Cuomo COVID-19, you can only have so many people in your house. And the sheriff said, well, look, you know, we're not enforcing no crap like that. You know, that's what a real sheriff is supposed to do. But they put him over in this group because, you know, he got to be down with the program. So this is their needs assessments, and they talk about their accomplishments, what they've worked together to achieve, you know. So they've worked together to remove kids, to put them back, to get people in GEDs and their drug court thing, adoptions. They all work together on that. So let's see. Let's go to another year. Let's go more recently. 2019. Go back. So 2017, we got the judge on there, got sheriff on there, the intake officers on there, you got police chief on there, you got the county commissioner on there, and you got the DHR director on there. Okay. And some of these things are actually even 501c3s. Let me show you that. Where is it? Actually, they're 501c3s. Oh yeah, and you can see our district attorney took his name off of there. So let's go back to needs assessments and let's look at a county that has its CPC actually set up as a 501c3. Let's pull up Dallas County. Boom. So we got Dallas County Children's Policy Council. Let's see, you got the judge. Let's make it big. You see, he's a coordinator. There you go, DHR. Okay. 501c status? Yes. Anybody know 501c is a business, and anything that's a 501c is not a state entity. Okay. Let's look that up because I just learned that not too long ago. So let's look up our state's 501c3s. Is a state. Excuse me. Is a state of 501c3. Look at this. This is the IRS now. This is the IRS telling us. Like I said, this is not me telling you this. A state or local government or political subdivision of a state or local government is not eligible for exemption on a 501c3. Okay. So if this Church's Policy Council is a 501c3, it's definitely not a state agency. I mean, it operates. It's kind of weird. Damn. So you got this entity here in partnership with DHR operating outside of the state. Now, to me, that don't sound right. To me, it don't, and I know from personal experience that it doesn't work right. So let's go to Dallas County Children's Policy Council site, because this man here, he tell it all. Now, I like those YouTube videos, so if they change it, it'll always be up. I mean, whether they remove this and change it or not, because sometimes they do that too. They change stuff when you bring it out. So let's see what quote unquote Judge Robert E. Armstrong does. So Robert E. Armstrong serves as District Court Judge of Dallas County since 2005. Pretty long time. He presently serves as chairman of the Dallas County Children's Policy Council and as president of the Dallas County Family Resource Center. That's a 501c now, right here. I think this is a 501c2. Judge Armstrong's visionary leadership through these two organizations has brought transformation to youth and families in the Selma/Dallas County area. I know it has brought a lot of transformation. These programs have proven track record in juvenile crime reduction, increased youth job readiness. This is what their main concern is right here. Assist fathers to more effectively fulfill their roles as parents, partners, and workers. Introduced a secondary abuse intervention program, as well as programs to assist those in poverty to become financially independent. The Dallas County Children's Policy Council is a system of services designed to address specific needs of individuals coming in contact with the Dallas County District Court. Wow. All right, so let's see what type of programs they got. Evidence success, court services, community-based partners. Okay, he said he was president of the Dallas County Family Resource Center. That's a partner of CPC, so let's click on them. Real quick. So the Dallas County Resource Center seeks to improve the quality of life for families in Selma and Dallas County area. The center provides intake, assessment, and referrals to existing services, creates programs where there's a gap in existing programs, and it develops a community resource directory. The center does not overlap with existing services, but works to provide central location where help can be found and refer the needs to services that currently exist. The Family Resource Center acts as a partner agency with United Way. So let's look up Dallas County. What's this here? Oh, I don't want to get to that yet. Is this him? Let's go to their website. Yeah, this is their site here. So they're talking about unemployment, what Dallas County is ranked as. So let's learn more. Let's see what their partners are. Now remember, the judge is the chairman of this. Okay, their partners: Alabama Department of Child Abuse and Neglect. That's their partner now. Same people that are gonna be bringing cases in front of him. Okay. Got a bunch of churches, Churches Policy Council. All right. Funders. Who gives this organization money? Churches Policy Council. Dallas County Commission. Ooh, Dallas County Department of Human Resources give this place that the judge is chairman of money? Bruh. Don't sound right. What services they got? Yep. So some people may ask, why these folks doing that type stuff? Why is it that deep where a judge got to sit in partnership with DHR so they can remove kids? And I'm not saying this is the only reason, but this is a very big reason. Pensions. Let me play a short video right quick. first.
We are under siege.
According to money.com, that's true. Over 10 billion email addresses have already been compromised.
And this dude does a good
Nothing
job.
will change if you're retired or near retirement. 2,
Forward up a little bit. What buddy talking at? Right there.
the heck out of you, especially.
All right, boom. Let's go back.
I want to talk to you about 3 words that should scare the heck out of you, especially if you're young. Public pension liabilities. Okay, I know you probably have about 100 things you're worried about, and public
Notice he said if you're young.
pension liabilities likely aren't one of them. But that's the reason this is so scary, because almost no one is paying attention. Unless you're okay with your city going full Detroit and giving more of your hard-earned money to pay off someone else's debts, stay with me. So what is a public pension liability? A pension is a guaranteed lifetime payment to someone after they retire. Pensions used to be a big deal in the private sector. Every major American company had them, but they became too expensive, and companies have taken steps to phase them out. However, pensions still live on in the public sector among employees of the government, and they're eating city and states' budgets alive. More and more money that could go to tax cuts or better services is instead being shoveled aside to pay for these benefits. Why is this happening? Over decades, politicians have promised trillions of dollars in pensions to government workers. That includes police, firefighters, teachers, and city and state officials. You name a government job, and there's a pension associated with it.
Big pension.
Now you may be wondering, how big payments?
Oh.
Many pensions are quite large. In California, more than 62,000 retired public employees are receiving over $100,000 per year.
That's doing nothing. Now.
Sometimes here, a retired New York City sanitation worker is getting $285,000 per year.
Wow.
A retired county administrator in California receives over $400,000 per year.
Dang.
Remember, these are guaranteed lifetime yearly payouts. Now, we love our public employees. They do vital to the wider society. They deserve competitive pay and retirement benefits. But currently, many cities are, in effect, paying for multiple public departments at the same time. The department that's working now, and because people are living longer, a generation or 2 of retirees. The system amounts to a self-perpetuating, corrupt merry-go-round. Public sector unions give large donations to candidates, who are then responsible for negotiating how much of your money goes to public sector workers. These arrangements not only promise high salaries in the short term, but they also hide the payments that will be due down the road when it will be much too late. The results are predictable. State and local governments across the U.S. openly admit to $1.4 trillion of unfunded pension liabilities, or $11,000 per household. Unfunded means dollars that have been promised, but there's no actual money in the bank. And that's just the amount they admit to. The real number, according to the Federal Reserve, is much larger, around $4 trillion, or $32,000 per household. Pensions have already thrown California cities like San Bernardino and Vallejo into bankruptcy, and the entire state of Illinois is teetering on the edge. So how do politicians get away with this? They use a time-tested political strategy. They lie. They lie by saying they can pay for more and more generous pensions, not by collecting more taxes, but by making investments at a guaranteed 7.5% return. But this is nonsense. It's less and less likely they'll meet their 7.5% goal over time, and their investment behavior, pouring ever more funds into ever riskier investments, suggests they know it. But if they were to use a more realistic assessment, they'd need to raise taxes dramatically, and they love their jobs too much for that.
All right. So this guy was basically saying these pensions are so big that the states can't fund them because they're guaranteed. They have to pay them. So you got a teacher you're paying $400,000 a year, $200,000 a year, to whoever. After they retire, they have to get that every year, and that money has to come from somewhere. And so let's see Alabama State on their pension reform, because this is Troy University. No, this is not Troy University. Yeah, this is Troy University. Speaking on the state's pension fund and what dire circumstances it's in. So let's see. It says the state and local governments must confront large and as of yet only partially recognized unfunded liabilities. They don't know where they're going to get this money from. That require an increasing amount of revenue to sustain. You hear that? Increasing amount of revenue to sustain. A combination of flawed accounting, poor market returns, and erratic funding policies has contributed to failing funding levels across plans and obscured a total funding shortfall of over $4 trillion nationally. By one estimate, Illinois, Connecticut, and New Jersey are projected to run out of assets to pay retiree benefits by 2020. And I just looked up Illinois, Connecticut, New Jersey. Just what this article says, they're talking about how they're dead broke. Look it up for yourself, okay? Now, mind you, the judges and all these workers and crap, they get these retirement funds, all right? So, I mean, they know this thing is going broke just like Troy, Alabama does, okay? And I do, okay? Because I researched it. So it says Alabama's 3 pension systems are under similar strain. That's the teachers, that's the judges, and the employee, okay? Pension funds. By one estimate, the state may run out of pension assets by 2033. All right, so they got to find some money somewhere. So this says when value based on certainty of payments, listen to this, Alabama will have to increase its contributions from $1.6 billion to $3.4 billion annually, or $819 per household, to fully fund the system. Let me make this a little bigger so y'all can see this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, you see that? So this is basically saying that they have to find some kind of way where they're getting every household to generate $819 in revenue for the state. That the same thing as taxes, really. Okay? Or they're gonna go broke. Or the judge is not gonna be able to get his $100,000 or $200,000, $300,000 a year or whatever he's making. Okay? So this is dire to these people. This is a very big thing. It goes unnoticed because people don't really understand how these pension funds work. And you know, I think they want to keep the state of these pension funds kind of low key because, you know, this means that if they can't pay these, they have to raise taxes, they have to do other things. So instead of raising taxes, what these people have done is taking the approach that, okay, well, we're going to get young people and we're going to make them fund these. They call it investment in human capital. And let me bring that up. All right, this is the Alabama, what is it? Commission of Higher Education. And you know, they refer to people as human capital. Okay, what is capital? Let's look up capital. We know what human means. I guess everybody knows what human means. So let's look up capital definition. And this is a financial term, so let's go to Investopedia. Pretty good. What is capital? Capital is the term for a financial asset. So human financial assets. Okay. I mean, I remember slaves used to be financial assets. But we'll look up asset too. What's an asset? You know, just so, you know, there's some clarity. Such as funds held in deposit accounts and or funds obtained from special financing sources. Capital can also be associated with capital assets of a company that requires significant amounts of capital to finance or expand. Financial asset. So let's look at what an asset is. Even better, they do financial asset. A financial asset is a liquid asset that gets its value from a contractual right or ownership claim. Cash, stocks, bonds. mutual funds, and bank deposits, and humans are all examples of financial assets. Unlike land, property, commodities, and other tangible physical assets, financial assets do not necessarily have inherent physical worth or even physical form. Rather, their value reflects factors of supply and demand in the marketplace in which they trade, as well as degree of risk they carry. Okay? So let's go back to this here. Building human capital, financial asset. Let's see what the Alabama Commission on Higher Education has to say about that. Rationale for comprehensive human capital plan. Creating sustainable economies and how we grow them. Economists have concluded that nearly all economic growth and prosperity for individuals, families, cities, states, and countries are now driven by college-educated workers. Yeah, it works for everybody but the college student, because when college students come out, they're indebted up to their behinds and having to work forever to pay these things off. Speaking from experience. Perhaps the best statistic is the correlation between a state's per capita income and adult educational attainment. Alabama ranks 46th in the nation in per capita income and 45th in the percentage of 25 and older adults with a bachelor's degree. Because of strong correlation between educational attainment and state wealth. Not your wealth, it's a state wealth. Alabama, its counties and its cities must invest in the most important aspect of its economic infrastructure, human capital. Okay? So what happens if you don't want them to invest? So you say, well, look, I'm good. I got my own human capital plan. Okay? They go to the CPC, arranges for you to hand over that capital. Okay? So basically, this Dallas County and Russell County Children's Policy Council, Jefferson County, which is Birmingham, Montgomery County, all these people are here to make sure that you develop your human capital in a way that gives their retirement funds some stability. Now, I'm not saying that's the only reason why they do this. Why the judges in partnership with DHR and Kenneth Davis and all these people, but it's definitely one big factor, because all these retirement things are coming due 2-3 years from now. So this is a really big thing. So tell me what y'all think about this. Do you think a judge sitting on a council, DHR, and them working together, and then at the same time coming in and hearing a case where DHR is trying to take your kids and put them in all these services that they think is going to help them get them ready for human capital? You tell me if you think that's something that should be done. Because I'm telling you, if you're not in Alabama, Alabama's child services thing is being looked at as a model for other states. So if you don't have something like this, you may be soon realizing this in your state, because all these states are having a pretty difficult time paying for these retirement funds, and they have to find out how to stabilize these unfunded liabilities. So